One of the most common questions we hear from homeowners across South Florida is whether now is actually a good time to sell. And the honest answer is that it depends. In this video, I want to walk you through what's really happening in today's South Florida real estate market with a closer look at Fort Lauderdale specifically, so you can decide whether selling now makes sense for your situation. Over the past few years, the market has gone through significant changes. We saw a period of rapid price growth, followed by higher interest rates, more inventory, and buyers becoming more selective. That has caused a lot of homeowners to wonder whether they missed the peak or whether waiting might be the smarter move. What's important to understand is that South Florida is not one single market, and even within the same city, outcomes can look very different depending on property type, location, and condition. Mortgage rates are part of that conversation as well. Rates today are lower than the peaks we saw over the last couple of years, but they are still meaningfully higher than what buyers experienced during the ultra-low rate period. Most forecasts suggest rates are likely to remain relatively stable in the near term rather than dropping dramatically. At the same time, there has been a recent change at the Federal Reserve leadership level, with a new chair nominee announced but not yet confirmed. While leadership changes can influence long-term policy direction, they do not guarantee immediate or dramatic changes to mortgage rates. As a result, buyers today are making decisions based on current affordability rather than waiting for a major shift. Across South Florida, what we are seeing is not a stalled market, but a more balanced one. Homes are taking longer to sell than they did during the frenzy years, buyers are negotiating more, and pricing matters again. Well-positioned homes are still selling, particularly in areas like Fort Lauderdale, where demand remains steady. The key difference today is that buyers are no longer rushing. They are comparing options, paying close attention to condition, and being cautious about monthly costs. This is especially true when you look at the difference between single-family homes and condos. In Fort Lauderdale and throughout much of Broward County, these two segments are behaving very differently. Single-family homes, especially in established neighborhoods, are still seeing consistent demand from buyers looking for space and long-term stability. Condos require more strategy. Buyers today are paying close attention to association fees, insurance costs, reserve funding, and potential assessments. Condos are still selling, but pricing and positioning matter far more now than they did a few years ago. When homeowners ask whether now is a good time to sell, what they are often really asking is whether selling now helps them move forward. For some people, selling now makes sense because it aligns with a lifestyle change, a relocation, or a financial decision. For others, waiting may be the better option, especially if there is no urgency or if the property needs work or repositioning. There is no universal answer. The right answer depends on your goals, your property, and your specific segment of the local market. One common misunderstanding we see is the expectation that today's market should behave like the peak years. The reality is that today's buyers are informed, cautious, and selective. That is not a bad thing. When sellers understand this and price their homes with today's conditions in mind, transactions tend to be smoother and more predictable. If you are a homeowner in South Florida, and especially here in Fort Lauderdale, and you are trying to decide whether selling now makes sense, the best place to start is understanding how your specific property fits into today's market. If you would like to see how this applies to your building, your neighborhood, or your situation, I'm always happy to share that context. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.